And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Hecate, we have the Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Little Fairy. It is Coffee. And spawning in the top right, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Protoss player, representing Mystery Gaming. His new team was once a camel, always a camel. But for now, representing Mystery Gaming, it is Cyan. Go. And again, we have a night full of casting. I'm still on the fence. I'm still very much so on the fence whether I want to cast ESL Olympic Cup Europe. It would be nice to have some food today. It would. Still. I mean, I had breakfast. Don't get me wrong, but it's almost midnight. It's almost midnight here in Australia. It's almost Boxing Day in Australia. Almost the 26th. We're half an hour away from Boxing Day, and I don't know. Part of me wants to take it a little bit easier. I mean, I say that we're casting quite a lot already, but yeah, we'll see how I feel. We'll see how I feel going into ESL Olympic Cup Europe. I was concerned that Roddy and Wardy wouldn't be covering ESL Europe, but if Wardy is here covering Masters Coliseum, he's most likely going to stay up and cover ESL Olympic Cup Europe as well. So that's like one more reason for me not to cast the Europe Cup. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll see how things unfold. For now, we're going to be settling into this. It is going to be a Rax Expand from Coffee. Likewise, we have a Gate Expand into a Cybercore here from Cyan. So pretty standard openers overall. Oh, and here is our follow-up, Coffee. Okay, not just going for an economic opener, but he's going for a really interesting follow-up. This looks like a 3 Rax. We have a second Rax, and I imagine a third. Yep, there we go. Third Rax is on the way, so it's going to be a 3 Rax follow-up. This is designed to shut down and abuse a Stargate opener. Oh my, but that is not a Stargate. That is a Robo. Okay. Show us what you got. So again, this build from Coffee is ideal against Stargate openers just because Phoenixes don't really help against Mass Marine. And the stim timing can be deadly. Fun fact though, Robo openers used to be a lot more commonplace. Nowadays they're a lot more niche. Nowadays it's either a Stargate or a Twilight Council, but Robo openers mean one thing only. I mean, they mean a couple of things, but they lead into really fast Colossus production. It's a very defensive way to play, very defensive. You lack map control. You lack map control. There's no Phoenixes, there's no Blink Stalker to keep up with drop play, but you can get into a very fast Robotics Bay. With a fast Bay, fast Colossus. With fast Colossus, that means fast Dead Marines. And here comes a hallucination, and we will get eyes and confirm the 3 Racks. Cyan is fully aware of what is coming his way. Should be going for a Safety Immortal after the Observer, then straight into Robotics Bay, and then straight into Colossus. And by the time the first Colossus comes out, by the time the army arrives, Cyan is going to shut it down. There's that first Immortal. Again, we do need... Oh, as we get a bit of a pause.
Game paused.
Hopefully everything's okay. Maybe some Uber Eats knocking at the door. Oh, good. Make sure that everything is okay. But yeah, essentially, by the time the push does arrive, Cyan is gonna have, or should have, access to his first Immortal, which would just swat those Marines away. Again, Colossus, sorry, should have his first Colossus, not Immortal. I mean, he's gonna have an Immortal as well. Should have the first Colossus, should be able to swat away the army, and yeah, once the first Colossus arrives, like, Cyan can't really engage. Can't really, sorry, Coffee can't really engage. Coffee can't really engage and touch the army, but we'll see. We'll see how things line up. But now, hopefully everything's okay. Where's my phone? Where's my Google Translate? What's happening? Let's have a look. Google Translate. Camera. What are they saying? Looks like we're having some keyboard issues. I'm assuming. It looks like Cyan actually couldn't pause. That's why he asked for a pause and he couldn't do it himself. So Coffee had to instead. And okay, looks like we have recovered. Looks like whatever was the issue, looks like it has been resolved, and we are getting ready to dive back into our game. Oh, thankfully. We should be counting down. Oh, get back into it. Ooh, beautiful. Ooh, and there's that bay that we were talking about. So again, robot opener into a very fast robotics bay. Fun fact, back in the day, a couple of years ago, when 3 Raxes was a lot more commonplace, robot openers were also more commonplace as well. And Cyan just happened to roll the dice, and I'm sure he's feeling pretty good about this position. Like, Coffee's in the dark. Coffee didn't SCV scout, he didn't Reaper scout. Coffee doesn't know what the hell's going on. Doesn't realize that he's being hard countered. Oh boy. As Coffee's amassing his army, Observer, of course, seeing everything, scouting everything. Cyan will be getting eyes on the move outs. Here we go, the Marines are going to be pushing. You can see Cyan looking to meet the army as well. He has sentries, force fields. Ideally, he's able to cut the army in half here at the ramp. Scan does take down the Observer. We can see Coffee rotating him towards the left-hand side, avoiding the ramp. Good move here from Coffee. Colossus is in production. Coffee does get eyes on the would-be third. Greedy move here from Cyan. The third base is going to be cancelled. Oh! We do cancel it in time. At the same time, we're going for a big counterattack with that War Prism. So far, Coffee's been holding onto that stim. Stim has only been used on 1 Marine so far. But yeah, the Colossus is going to be able to arrive in time. Good force fields. It does slice up some of the army. Coffee has to escape. Meanwhile, Adepts, they get into the middle line. SCVs are going down. We're going to get 4, 5, 6 SCVs making up for the cancelled third base. Meanwhile, Coffee is reinforcing, but by the time he does, the Colossus has revealed itself. We're stimming on forward, diving onto the Colossus. We focus it down. Big overextension from Cyan, and Coffee, it looks like he has snowballed out of control. That should not have happened. We should have had an overcharge. We should have kept the Colossus alive. And Coffee, he's done it. He's broken through. GG gets called, and Coffee takes game number 1. GG. Oh my god. Cyan, unfortunately, a little bit out of position there. Again, the Colossus was too far forward and should never have been there. Again, Colossi, they need to be in the back line. If it was closer to the base, would have been able to pull it back, would have been protected by the shield battery, by the overcharge as well. Just, yeah, everything falling apart towards the end. Ay. Cyan had the tools to defend, but the execution was lacking, and Coffee able to take advantage of it. Able to take advantage. GG, well played. With that, Coffee is 1 game away, one más, 1 game away from advancing on to a qualifying match. To the qualifying match. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Solaris. We have our Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran representing Team Little Fairy, leading the series 1-0. It is Coffee. And spawning in the top right, we have as opponent, we have the Chinese Protoss, the blue Protoss player representing Team Mystery Gaming down in the series, looking to fight back. It is Cyan. Boy, again, Coffee is a very aggressive player, very assertive here, especially in TvP, and Typically, he goes for a lot of two-base play. He's not really one to rush into a third, not really one to be too economic. So my eyes are still on Coffee to see how he does approach Cyan, how he does approach game 2. So far, Cyan's scouting for proxies. I don't blame him. Checking for any Raxes. The Rax of Coffee thrown down back at home, where it should be. Everything's looking normal for now. Cyan going for a gate expand, economic opener from our blue Protoss player. Coffee, once again, is going to be skipping the SCV scouts. He's going for a Rax expand as well, and going for a reactor first. A little bit greedy here. No Reaper first here from Coffee. Is going to be walling up. Depot on the high ground. The probe is going to just get on top of that CC. Just going to be as annoying as possible. Tase away at the SCV. Forcing out another SCV. And yeah, Coffee just going for a reactor into Marine. So this is a really bold way to play. Coffee essentially zero scouting information. He's not really concerned with what Cyan is up to. And it makes sense. Cyan isn't really an aggressive player. He's a lot more standard. When I think of Cyan, I think of just like solid mid-game and macro play. So Coffee isn't really going to be taken advantage of. He's not really going to be abused for this opener. As Cyan once again going for a Robo. Now, I did say earlier that that going for the Robo opener against the 3-Rax was a hard counter. As I say that though, again, that was very much so based on the fact that Cyan would be able to keep his Colossus alive. He wasn't able to, and then the game snowballed out of control. In general, this is just a very safe way to play. To reiterate what we spoke about in Game 1, with a Twilight Council or a Stargate opener, you gain map control. You're able to shut down drop play. You're able to contain your opponent, be very assertive, and just have a presence on the map. That is something that you lack with a Robo opener, as we have a hallucinated Oracle moving out. With a Robo opener, you lack Blink, you lack Phoenixes. You do gain access to faster Colossus, so it's just a very tech-heavy way to play. Very defensive. Early Immortals as well. Meanwhile, Coffee moving out with a handful of Marines. No stim, but there is a shield battery. There's a force field. Oh, sorry, he just hallucinated, but with the shield battery, we should be able to hold on. We're okay. Marines, a threat to dive in. If there wasn't a shield battery, we could break through, but, I mean, with this, we're keeping everything alive. We do focus on the sentry, though. Oh my god, we barely had the DPS for it. Not a bad trade. Getting a sentry for a handful of Marines. Alien tries to slip in. Good force shield. Good wall off there from Cyan. Keeping the Hellion out of the bases. Again, with this, we're getting into our early Immortal, eventually into a bait. Eventually into a Erotic Spade. Again, with our scout across map, we confirmed that it was not a 3-Rax this time, so we're actually delaying the Bay, going into a Forge and a Twilight Council. Interesting. I mean, Cyan now knows he doesn't have to rush into a Colossus this game, so we can go into a bit of a different direction. This looks like +1 and potentially Charge. Curious if we're going to be investing into Charge or Blink. Meanwhile, the Mind Drop is coming in. Is going to be deflected. So have 3 Widow Mines though in that medevac, looking for a way into the base. We do have 1 Widow Mine waddling into the natural. Ooh, does get a Stalker. He wants the Observer. He wants it. Doesn't get it. Bit of a wasted scan there from Coffee. Aye. Yeah, the drop is going to be forced back. At least Coffee does retain his... At least he retains his Widow Mines. Raven does actually catch that Observer, but the Observer does make it out alive as well. So far, Cyan doing well, preserving his units, working towards his third. He comes across that drop, but once again... Oh my god. Gee, I thought it targeted the prison for a moment there. Widow Mine shot's going to be going up. But so far, good moves here out of Cyan. Good blinks. Does avoid those shots. Does shut this down. Behind this, third CC is on the way. Coffee forced into a longer game. Coffee has been having a much harder time this time. Much harder time in game number 2. Losing a medevac. Being forced back home, and Cyan is looking comfortable. Charge is on the way after Blink. Templar Archives for Archon production. Maybe even Storm. Storms would be nice. That's our splash damage of choice. Again, Cyan, even though in the early game he was stuck at home, he was defending well. He's been defending well. Now he has Blink. Now he's going to be threatening the main base once again. There is a turret in position, so we have to be careful. Coffee is moving out. The move out hasn't spotted by the observer. As we move out, the War Prison moves in, but Coffee is in position. At least with a couple of units. Gonna force out some micro at the same time, double drop into the main base. Stalkers likewise lying in wait as well. With players having a hard time harassing. Oh, we commit. Oh, we got a Coffee. Does manage to unload. Yeah, not enough Stalkers. We stim on forward. We get on top of the army, but we have the overcharge. One of my shots going to be going off. But it looks like Coffee is running out of steam. He does wedge himself behind the mineral line, but he's forced to pick up. Storm is done. That was scouted. Coffee is aware of the storm. And that War Prison is being such a nuisance here. We've been wanting to expand. We've been wanting to just be free. Prism finally goes down. And the game is going to be settling from here. Coffee, he's taking his third. We have a ring of turrets on the way. It looks like Coffee is turtling. Okay, I mean, something to bear in mind while the Raven harasses across the map is that Coffee, even though he hasn't really been able to do a lot of damage, he has been preserving his units. I will say that at least. Coffee, he has been very careful about pulling back, about maintaining his army. Has bled out a couple units here or there, true, but for the most part, no major losses from Coffee yet. As a result, he's able to keep up in supply. He scans, avoids the drop. Meanwhile, the army is pushing on forward. Coffee out of position. The tank is exposed. Storms as well, and it looks like Cyan, he takes control of the natural base. Big storm into the mineral line and the main army as well. Oh my god. And we still have another storm in the chamber. Third base is denied. 14 SCVs go down, and Cyan, he can keep pushing. Again, no tanks on the high ground. There are a couple of Widow Mines. Widow Mine drop coming in. Decent connections from Coffee. But we're pushing it anyway. The Raven. Is going to be able to focus on the Raven as well. We still have a storm. We still do have that one storm available as well. Last for now, we're going to be backing up. Across the map, looks like we get one mine hit. A couple of probes did fall. Ooh, big connections. And Cyan, have we overextended? We do get a storm going. A second storm as well, where we collapse on the army. And can we clean this up? It looks like we do. Coffee barely cleans up the army. Not a bad fight. Cyan did overstay his welcome. And Coffee retakes his third base, but he did lose 17 SCVs. Did lose a lot of workers. That's the downside here. And Cyan is able to take a fourth and maintain his worker lead. 68, almost 69 probes. Nice. Almost nice. There we go. Second rover. Double rover production. The bay is on the way for Colossi. Like, Cyan is just refining his army, getting further ahead. Shock coming in. Up. Do we pull away in time? We got a handful of probes. 3 probes go down. Cyan's main army still looking strong. Still looking terrifying. How many High Templar? How many storms are available? A lot. Too many even. We need some good EMPs. So far, does connect with the main army. High Templar though, they still have those storms. Nice feedbacks on those ghosts. At the same time, the Zealot counterattack does run into some reinforcements, is dealt with. Is going to be dealt with. There we go. The first storm has been thrown down. More of them, they do zone away the army. Cyan, he tries to wedge his way into that third base. The boys are being pulled into Archon's. Big storms here on the Marauders as well. It looks like we're barely breaking through. We get on top of the Prism. The Prism goes down, but we are losing every single SCV here. There's too much Protoss. Cyan, he breaks the third base, breaks the army. GG gets called, and we are going to the ace match. GG. We're going all the way to game number 3. We got a much stronger start this time from Cyan. Able to shut down the Widow Mines, if you remember. Able to have an amazing fight at the third base initially, where he was able to kill 17 SCVs. His storm timing was brutal as well. And yeah, just really solid play there out of Cyan. Very nice defensive play initially. And with that, Coffee up against the wall, being forced into game 3. This could still go either way. Could still go the way of the Terran or the way of the Protoss. Personally, I would love to see a little bit more of a diverse qualifying match. I would love to see Firefly versus Coffee for another TvP, but at the same time, PvPs are always a lot of fun. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to it. Who is it going to be? Who is going to join Oliveira and all those other invited players in the main event? Who is it going to be? Un momento, un momento. Ah. It's getting cold. I have to turn off the air cold. Okay, we're back. We are back. We're getting into our next game. And I'm getting tired already. I think the other reason why I'm getting I'm getting tired a little bit earlier today. I mean, we are 4 hours in, but I still haven't eaten any food. Some fuel would be nice to keep the light going. We'll get some food after we wrap up the qualifiers. And here we go. We're getting into the ace match, game number 3, and spawning in the top right-hand corner of our Kiana, we have the Chinese Terran player, the Red Terran, representing Team Little Fairy, being forced into the ace match. It is Coffee. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Blue Protoss, representing Mystery Gaming, tying up the series 1-1, forcing the ace match. It is Cyan. Cyan able to gain a little momentum in that last game, deflect the initial aggression from Coffee, and yeah, settle into a pretty solid game number 2. But now we're here in game 3, the ace match, and I'm curious how our players will adjust. So far, every game, Cyan has gone for a robo-based opener, And I like it. I like it here, specifically against Coffee, just because Coffee has an aggressive reputation. So to keep going for these early robos, early immortal production, very defensive play, it feels, yeah, it feels very, very akin, very anti-Coffee here. What's anti-Coffee? Decaffeinated? Very decaf, if you will. It's good. We'll see. Likewise, Coffee has been mixing it up as well. Game 1, we did see a 3 racks. We're loading into Alcyone. Alcyone has a longer rush. This is by ground. Is known for its defensive features. Known for its late game. So, yeah, how will Coffee approach this? For the first time, though, going for a racks expand. Not the first time, I should say, but for the first time, he's going for a Reaper first. Game 1 and Game 2, Coffee did skip the Reaper. Not this time. Not this time, as we have this TC on the high ground. Coffee, sorry, Cyan, did he see it? He didn't quite see the command center. Did see the racks alongside the building, the racks producing something without the add-on. Probe comes back in, and we do get eyes on the CC. It was close enough. The probe does confirm. So Cyan knows it's not a one base all in. He's aware of that at least. Reaper does pivot back in, threatening that main. But is forced out in the end. Does actually avoid the Adept. Good moves here out of Coffee. Avoids the Adept, gets one probe kill in the natural, slips into the main base as well, and can we get a scout? We will get eyes on the tech of choice. This time, for the first time this series, likewise, Cyan is not going for a Robo, he's going for a Stargate opener instead. The Reaper is hunted down. Did we see the first units? We did! We did get eyes on the morphing in Oracle. There we go, Marines are getting in position, Widowmines as well. Coffee going to be lying in wait for that Oracle. There we go, Widowmine repositioning into the mineral line as well, behind the gas geyser. Making it that much more difficult to see. Coffee from here going to be expanding. Meanwhile, Cyan is still just building himself up. Ooh, as we are committing to a drop, actually. A Marine and Widowmine drop is moving out. Meanwhile, the Adepts say do not shade in, but they get some SCVs. Ooh, 2 SCVs do get caught out. At the same time, the Oracle comes in, but we do have the Widowmine. Big mine shots. Oracle goes down, and now Coffee can focus on his aggression. Get really good positioning with that Widowmine behind the gas geyser. We're pushing in, but again, we have that Widowmine. The mine shot, ooh, will not go off. Very close to very clutch defense from Cyan, focusing down that Widowmine. Meanwhile, reinforcements are pushing across the map. Coffee isn't done. Third base has been spotted, but can Cyan hold on to the third? Here we go. Here come the rest of the army. Coffee pushing up the ramp, but the Widowmine goes down almost instantly, and it looks like we will shut this down. The Coffee? The Cyclone barely does make it out, and Coffee is forced to retreat. If he had lost that Cyclone, he'd be in a lot of trouble back at home. Speaking of, gonna take another stand. Good arc from Coffee. Shuts down the Adepts. Cyan overextending quite a bit. Oracle's going to be moving in. This time, I believe we do not have a defensive Widowmine. Yeah. No Widowmines back at home. We get into the mineral line. SCVs are going to be going down. Coffee was not expecting this. He was not ready for another Oracle to come in. We get 4, we get 5. Almost 5. 4 SCV kills, a lot of lost mine time as well. Coffee in a bit of trouble, going for the Cyclone drop. Blink's still on the way. Still in production. Meanwhile, the army is pushing across the map. We have lost 5 worker kills in the main base to the Lib. Liberator keeping that Phoenix busy. Coffee does pull back. But again, he is causing a lot of chaos. Those 5 worker kills were pretty necessary. I mean, Coffee's economy is not ideal. He's still on 35 workers. So he needed something to go his way. So far, so good. Oracle coming back in. This time not finding as much damage. Coffee able to deflect. To deflect the army in the end. Liberator sieges up in the main base but gets shut down. It already killed 5 probes, to be fair. Already did some damage. It wasn't for nothing. Likewise, Coffee is pushing out. Revelation does get eyes on this as well, so we're going to be able to focus on at least some of the Cyclones. Good blinks out of Cyan. Mind drop coming in once again. Just doesn't stop. So Cyan is working on a gateway heavy composition. He's got Blink, we've got Charge on the way for +1. He's trying to be very assertive. He dives into that Cyclone once again. Stim still isn't done. Meanwhile, here comes the mind drop. Do we have a reaction? We do not. Oh, big mind shots. 11 probes go down. Cyan's economy is in trouble. We dive in, we get a reactor, we get 2 reactors and a medevac. Pretty good counter damage, but this shot, is it going to go off again? No! It's going to go off again. Meanwhile, Coffee, there we go. Now throwing down a 3rd CC. It's a delayed 3rd, but a 3rd nonetheless. Revelation will shut this down just in time. But we're coming back in. Oh, it's going to borrow it. One more probe. One more probe and a revelation. Medevac finally going to be hunted down. Here we go. Coffee is pushing. He's revealed to the Zolnaga. We have another mind drop. The mind drops, they just continue. It's a little bit risky, so there's a bit of a give and take here. As this time we do get eyes on this, we do react in time. What is happening is that Coffee has been throwing away his medevacs. His medevacs, oh god, they're getting caught out time and time again. And even though Coffee has been harassing and has been getting some probe kills, his main army is lacking. You can see here, it's actually a little bit overstimmed. There are no medevacs to support, no medevacs to sustain this army, which means every stim is hurting and killing Coffee slowly over time. We're getting back into medevac production. There's 2 more on the way, but again, we have none with the main army at the moment. So that is a little concerning for Coffee. Again, he's been committing quite a lot to these Widowmine drops, and because he's been losing the medevacs as well, it just hasn't really been worth it. Losing the mines is one thing, the medevacs something else entirely. Here we go. Coffee is pushing. Behind the sign is working on +2, working on a 2nd robo. First robo. Alongside Storm. Cyan just fighting his army. Mine. Oh, big mine shot. Once again, another Oracle goes down. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, and we just take the mines to the face. Brutal trade for Cyan. Does have to back off. Does have to retreat. Again, he's still waiting for Storm. Meanwhile, Coffee set up with a massive minefield, actually. Ideal against a Zealot heavy composition. A bit less so against Storm, but I mean, that's what the ghosts are going to be for those EMPs. Meanwhile, Cyan taking another base. There we go. High Templar have arrived. Big scan does reveal them. Coffee, he's now aware. Getting ready for those EMPs. Coffee is going to be pushing right through the center as well. Here come the storms! Oh my god. First one grazes the army, but we have more where that came from. Cyan, Coffee going to be scanning. Does get eyes on the would-be fourth. The blinks! Oh, blinks are punished here by the mines once again. We can see Cyan is getting his second robo for double Colossus production. His main army is still lacking quite a lot of splash damage and quite a lot of sustain. So the Colossi are going to help with that, assuming it's Colossi instead of Disruptor. I mean, they both have their place. And the game is settling. The game has been very intense and very back and forth up until this point, but the game is settling down. Now everyone's expanding. Cyan is working on a 5th. Coffee working on a 4th. Ghost production. Colossus. Robotech. Oh, good EMP. Oh my god, that was actually really clutch. Really solid EMP there, predicting the drop of those High Templar. Coffee getting ready to push through the center. Is spotted by all these observers. Cyan getting ready for his other counterattack. Is scouted. Belt's coming into the natural and the third base. But good positioning here overall. Coffee will shut this down. Likewise, Coffee's own counterattack also gets shut down as well. Once again, there's a bit of a back and forth. We're catching the Stalkers. Oh my god. Stalkers taking a lot of damage. We do have one storm. Big Zealot counterattack gets caught out as well. Some good trades here from Coffee. But Cyan now has a much superior economy. He's on, what, over 80 workers. At this point, we can stop pro production. Cyan, he's at his ideal. He's at his end game. And now we're getting to 2, soon to be 4 Colossi. Once we get 4 Colossi, that will commence Disruptor production. And suddenly, Ghost and the EMPs aren't as impactful. They're good against Storm and High Templar and Archons. Less so against Disruptors. Disruptors, they didn't care about your EMPs. And oh my, that is a 3rd and 4th robo. We're getting into quadruple robo production. That is not seen too often. We've seen triple robo production, but 4? That's crazy. That's a lot of disruptors. Goal base is on the way. The map is being cut in half. We spoke about Alcyone earlier. It is very prone to these more later game scenarios. Here we go. Cyan is pushing. Cyan is maxed. Ideally, he wants to trade. He wants to lose some of the supply to make room for disruptors, I'm sure. This Coffee is just trying to turtle up back at home. Cyan rotating around, still looking for a way in. Let's pick up a couple of Vikings, a couple of Widow Mines. Not too bad. Force fields are thrown down. Once again, the Sim City here is so damn good. I love that there isn't just a bunker, but this one depot is doing so much as well, just reducing surface area on the bunker itself. It's really good stuff. By is caught out. We're working towards Liberator production at this point. We have our Lib transition from Coffee. Against a robo-heavy composition, Liberators are king. Liberation is soon to arrive. +1 ship weapons as well. Liberator range. With that fusion core. Which means Cyan should be working on Sky Toss. And there it is. We have a 2nd Stargate on the way. We have a Fleet Beacon, a 3rd Stargate as well, +1 air attack. Sky Toss is soon to be upon us. We're not there yet. If Coffee's able to take a really good fight first, then maybe we can try to snowball before we reach Sky Toss. But that's the Protoss' answer to Liberators, basically. It's like Tempest, maybe even some carriers. Big Storms! Big storms on the army. Focus down the Medivacs as well. We're able to trade with some of the Stalkers, but a brutal trade for Coffee. So many ghosts go down. Only 2 units survive, and we have a Phoenix. Ah. At the same time, Coffee tries to push through the center, but he's being forced back. Get a good cleanup here from Cyan. And as Cyan bleeds out some units, show us the Tempest. I'm curious if we go into a different direction. I mean, I'm all for Tempest of Carriers, but if we see like Void Rage or something, that's going to be wild. Scan reveals the golds. Coffee does have eyes on bottom right. Still amassing a bio army. The ship weapons are also going to help when it comes to a Viking transition. Once we do confirm either Carriers or Tempest, Vikings will be necessary. So like Sky Terran, Live Viking, Marine Marauder Ghost. So we have some Liberators harassing here towards the bottom right. We have the shield batteries to support, but up! Okay, we do pull back to the shield battery. Cyan gonna be losing not just the Prism, but that was some High Templar as well! I assume? Is that not gonna show? There were some units in there. Coffee tries to go for a counterattack, but we have storms, cannon, shield batteries in position. Oh my god. And he's ready for any kind of counterattack. And there it is. There are the Tempests in production. Tempest Immortals. 3 more starports on the way for Coffee. So that's going to be, again, for a massive Viking production. Vikings and Libs. Freedom has arrived. Good storm here on the main army. Oh my god. Coffee just taking the storm so that he just doesn't care. I mean, he is breaking through the Colossi. Where are the disruptors? We didn't make any. Oh. That's a little bit scary to actually not have any disruptors available. The reason why I say that is Tempests are good, but they take a while to really get going. So there's going to be a window as Cyan bleeds out units and as he produces Tempest. There's going to be a window before they really hit critical mass where they can really add too much to the army composition. Where disruptors ideally feel that like void. So I'm a little bit concerned for Cyan. As he's pushing on the right. We have Coffee pushing through the middle. Cyan gonna be committing. Gets on top of the lib. Army coming from behind. He's gonna get caught out. Liberation is here. Good storms here, not just on the bio army, but also on the Vikings. And the Tempests have been revealed, and now we can chip away at these libs. We have our answer. We have our unit. It is called the Tempest. Good EMP. Vikings are doing what they can. But it does look like Cyan just has the better army at this point. Liberators do reposition. Yamato is on the way. That I was not expecting. We could maybe get into BCs. Maybe. As the Tempest, they're having their way with those lives. They get 1, they get 2. Soon to be 2. First they're coming in. Nice EMP. Vikings, they almost get 1 of those Tempests. They will get 1. They almost get a second. Not bad. Not bad from Coffee. Meanwhile, Cyan is just taking more bases. Maintaining his economy. Looking for another way in. Meanwhile, Coffee is just going mass Viking at this point. It's all about the Viking lib. We can afford to throw away like some Marauders. Marines. Coffee's still trying to max out. Baits out a blink. Colossi laying siege on that mineral line. Tempest, one gets picked up. Yeah, the Vikings, they just bully this army back. We get both Tempests. We get one of the Colossus as well. We send in the Storms. Coffee. Yeah, sleep at the wheel. Takes a big storm to the face. Which means Cyan, he can push through. Does have to retreat for now. God, that high tempo. Oh god. Will go down. Don't know if that storm was really worth it. And Cyan is still maxed out. So we have 3 more Tempests on the way. This game does reveal that. We could maybe do with a 4th Stargate. As Cyan is double expanding. He's taking center right and center left. Coffee burning through his bank. Trying to leave for core, but again, it just feels like he's still playing catch up here. Well, the storm is going to be evaded. Up. So do try to trade. God, and then now we're hitting critical mass with Tempest. Now we're up to 5. We have a 6th Tempest coming out. And these lives, they're just taking far too much damage. The Tempest, they're going ham. They pick off another Liberator, some Vikings as well. Oh, he's just being bullied back. Ah. Oh my god, as we don't even lose the Tempest here. Just kiting so well. We're still on, what, 6 Vikings. Still no +3 ship weapons. Again, Cyan has a better economy. But all this, essentially, as we do pick off 1 Tempest finally, we've been needing some harassment here. It's difficult because there's so much static defense, but whether it's lib harass or drop play, now we have a drop moving out, but this is too little too late. This is something that we needed minutes ago. As we pick away at the army. Like so if you're curious, the downside of Cyan's army is it's very immobile. Like Tempest, like this Immortal Colossus army, it's very clunky, very mobile. You can take advantage of it by counter-attacking, but it's something that Coffee wasn't able to really accomplish too much. Wasn't able to abuse that immobility. Now he's able to catch a couple more Tempests. Big overextension from Cyan, losing 3 Tempests. Stalkers were not in position. Storm is okay. Coffee taking top left. Cyan just denying more bases here as we dive on top of the army. Liberator's going to be going down, and the ground army is leveling out of control. We take down every single Tempest, but it doesn't matter. What matters now are the Immortals, the Storms as well. And Cyan, he's looking to make a qualifying run here as he's able to break through the army. GG gets called, and Cyan takes the series 2-1, advancing on to the grand finals. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Again, Cyan had full map control, essentially, was freely expanding, maintaining his economy, taking up into Skytoss, and trading so efficiently with it. And then Coffee was just like at home. He just never had the opportunity to counterattack, to drop, to be active on the map. He tried at times, but more often than not, Cyan was able to shut him down. So really good defensive play out of Cyan. Meanwhile, Coffee was just unable to break him. And with that, GG, well played. Cyan will advance on to a qualifying match, the final series here of the Qualifier. Exclamation mark B in the chat if you guys want to have a look at the back of yourselves. We can all just have a bit of a gander here. We can see that, again, earlier we casted Firefly versus Nice, Firefly 2 and Nice, and now we have one best of 3 remaining. It's Firefly versus Cyan. And you heard me correctly. You can check the Wikipedia page yourself, but I believe that every single match, including the qualifying matches, are not best of 5s, they're all best of 3s. That much more brutal.